you give them the experience. So Kimberly and I, after some convincing, I pumped that kid full of an excess of stuff. Noah went home with us sick. But I will never forget how happy that child was. Because he was. He fell asleep in the car right away with a sore stomach. But as Noah grew and we got to see what a true gentleman and young man that this 10-year-old all jacked up on cotton candy really was, I got to tell you, the one thing Noah taught me was a lesson in hope. You see, it's so easy when you pay attention to what's going on in the world around you to become bitter and jaded at the world and at people. And Noah taught me hope in our younger generation in humanity. You see, he was all what was right with humanity in his generation when it's often easy to overlook. So for that, Noah, thank you. The other thing that made me proud was, much to my chagrin, he wanted to join the Army. It meant the world to him. Despite Grandpa and I's best efforts to sell the Air Force, Noah wanted to join the Army. And at first it really bothered me, but then I realized it was Noah's journey and his path. And I thought in my heart forever that Noah was amazing and going to go great places. You see, as tough as this is to say, Noah went great places, just not the places that we thought.
Amen.
Noah, I love you.
Family, friends, fringe to me. I am so happy that you are here with us to celebrate the dash of Noah. My name is Jeff, and I am Cindy's big brother. He was my nephew. He was my first nephew. I just mentioned his dash. If you don't know what that means, it's the little hyphen that they put in between your date of birth and the date of your death. While those numbers were really close, I have to admit, by looking at this full house, his dash is huge. I'm going to say that his dash is probably bigger than mine at 18 than me at 30 something. So, shh, don't. I really have to tell you, I kind of got a little bit of dash in me. So I really want to take the time to say that his life and his accomplishments aren't really necessarily made up of himself. It was what he did for others. You're all here because of it. It's important to identify and address that he had an impact on everybody here. He had influence over everybody here. That's why we're here together. And while I could spend yarns telling you tales of Noah all day long, I really thought it would be most important to celebrate some of the people who were in his life that had an impact on him. First and foremost, and I want you guys to know, I do not put you people in high regard. I just don't. The first person I'd like to address, and I don't know their name, I haven't heard it yet, would be the young lady who was with Noah at the time of his demise. I got to tell you, hearing what had happened, and albeit it's secondhand, what you did, the bravery you showed, and the dangers you had to overcome to try and render aid to my nephew at the time of his demise, it's unbelievable. And I'll tell you right now, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, I love my nephews. More importantly, you truly are heroes to me. And I really commend you for your efforts. Secondly, I'd like to address Gingerbeard, also known as Dan. Those two were thick as thieves. They spent a lot of time together, and I gotta tell you, you guys are great men. You guys pretty much sharpened the other. And I really see a lot of influence and strength of character that you had with him, and I see you guys rubbing off on each other. So I'm really happy that you are a friend in his life. And I really have to admit that I'm really proud that he was your friend, and I honestly consider you're my friend as well. Finally, I would like to say I have such a great space in my heart for Haley. Haley was a wonderful influence in his life. I know that God loved you, and I know he wanted to stay with you forever. I don't know why he was having the issues he was having in between, but I know ultimately it always came right back to Haley. You're wonderful. I watched you train him to be from the boy to the man that he became. Your influence was great and powerful, and I really appreciate what you were in his life. And I know I said this earlier outside, I consider you my niece. You're part of my family, whether you like it or not. And I would be honored if you thought of me as your uncle as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks.
At this time, we're going to have Taylor Murray come up. Taylor's the youth pastor here, had a relationship with Noah, and he's got a quick word to share.
Well, like he said, my name is Taylor, and I'm the youth pastor here at Real Life Church. And I had the privilege of knowing Noah for a relatively short time. You know, first I would just say, great job. You all did a great job raising Noah. And I know it wasn't just mom, wasn't just grandma and grandpa, it was so many of you in here that are the reason that we're here because of this guy. And it's an honor to be a part of that, seeing how many people played such a significant role in Noah's life. I'm confident he's the way he is today because of that. I first met Noah. I remember my first memory. And, I'm a youth pastor, so I work with a lot of teenagers, and I meet a lot of people. And for the first time, especially with the young men, I'll just be honest, usually their handshake's a little weak. And so I'll meet them, look them in the eye, and they're usually looking down or off to the side because they're scared of me. I think because I'm so intimidating, my muscles and all of that. And I get it. But I remember meeting Noah, and I shook his hand, and it's almost as if he hurt my hand because it was so firm, and he looked me in the eye and was like, "Great handshake, dude, I like you." Literally what I said to him. And I think that really describes who Noah was. Is he was there in the moment, just like you said. He was there in the moment. And you knew that he respected you. You knew that he cared. You knew that he was with you then. It's just so telling as to how he lived his life. He wasn't indecisive. He wasn't passive, but he knew that he was here for a reason, and he wasn't going to waste any time. I love hearing stories like many of the ones you heard today, and stories of when he would bring his guitar to school. I heard his family was telling me a story the other day where he had his guitar at school, and the power went out or something, and he was playing guitar and led a little sing-along, and just people gathering around singing just for the heck of it. And you wouldn't look at him and think, that guy's the kind of guy who would lead a sing-along. But that was Noah. Or the time where he would play guitar after school and then have to call his grandma because he missed the bus because he was so caught up in the moment doing what he was doing. It's so cool. I want to share a quick thought, and then I'll be done. But one of the mottos in the high school was, just a couple years ago, reach more, love more, and do more. And I think this really embodied what Noah did. Is he was always reaching more. If I could say something to especially the young people in here, many of you went to school with Noah. You saw him firsthand. You were friends. You saw him in the halls. You were close. Maybe you were distant, but you were impacted by him. And it was because he reached far beyond his little sphere of influence. He wasn't limited by it. And I loved about Noah that no one was, and nothing was off limits. No one was out of reach. Everywhere he went, he was looking for someone. Who can I reach out to? Who can I help? He was always loving more. He was always doing more. He was living beyond himself. And if I can encourage us with any final thought today, it would be, let's be the kind of people who don't live for ourselves, but we live beyond us. We go outside the walls of our schools, or maybe it's inside your school even. So you go back to school in just a few weeks. Maybe the legacy of Noah can live on in your high school, and you can be the kind of person who, because of him, you're inspired to reach out to somebody who needs a little bit of help and needs some encouragement. Maybe it can be to love somebody who you know is lonely. And maybe it can just be to do something that no one else is willing to do so that you can see the change that you want to see in the world. I honor Noah today because he really embodied this for us.
Thank you, Taylor. Before I have this choir come up and sing, I want to give you a thought about when somebody that you love, somebody that you know, leaves you early, that leaves you asking questions. And so in the process, in honoring Noah, how we grieve our loss with Noah is really, really important. It's the same thing for anybody that we lose, especially those that we lose in a tragedy at a young age, in a situation like this. The first thought that comes to our mind is why? Why did this happen? Why? Why? Why wasn't I there? Or why did Noah this? Or why did God? Why did so-and-so? And we start to ask this question why. And the problem with the question why is that oftentimes we try to answer it just to get the piece that we need. And so we throw in an answer, and oftentimes that answer is incorrect. Oftentimes that answer is not to be found. And so the problem with why is, the why question is that oftentimes we blame. We blame ourselves, or we blame others, or we blame the one we lost, or we blame circumstances of some sort. And blame sends you on a downward spiral really quick. And people have very bitter lives because they blame things. They blame people. They blame themselves. They blame their friends. They blame God. They blame a spouse or an ex or somebody like that. There's always blame. Blame can turn you into a very bitter person that does not resemble who Noah was. And so as people who want to honor Noah on this day, in remembrance of him, let's shift the question away from why to a more healthier question that would be more in line with the spirit of Noah. You see, Noah, if you know the story of Noah in the Bible, Noah built an ark to save people from the rains that were coming. And I just kind of hear this, that Noah is like communicating to all of us, is that he's sending you a message to get in the ark. He's sending you a message, come on man, I built an ark for you. I literally laid my life on hold to build this ark. And in Noah's case, he left this earth in order to send you an ark. And I think that the way that we can do this is by asking a different question. Is we could ask the question, what? What did Noah mean to you? What quality about Noah do you want to live on What would Noah want you to do going forward? What would be Noah's message to you in your life if he knew you as well as he knew his family members? What would he say to you that would help you get in that ark? What is that thing that you wrestle with that he would help you with? What is that character quality of him that you would want to exemplify? What is that decision that you need to make that he would want you to make? When you ask the question what, any kind of what question sends you on a creative upward climb instead of a downward spiral. Probably the biggest way to dishonor somebody that you love, that you lose, is by going on a downward trajectory because they're gone. So we want to honor Noah, not just with our words, not just with a song, not just with a service here today, but how we choose to live going forward. Ask yourself, what would Noah want you to do? What would Noah want you to be? What would Noah want you to receive? Of course, really big to Noah was as his grandma said, it was his faith in God. What would Noah tell you about his faith in God? And what would he say to you right now if he could have that private time with you? If you can ask that kind of question and go into pursuit of the answer to the what question, I guarantee you, you'll honor Noah, you'll honor yourself, and you'll honor God. And you'll go on an upward climb instead of a downward spiral. At this time, I'd like to invite you to just reflect on your what question as the high school choir comes up to sing. I would like you to just think about the words that they're singing and what question would you ask yourself? There is an opportunity for all of you to be able to share some of your stories and how Noah impacted your life. And we're going to have a video camera right out inside these two doors right over here immediately after the service. As we prepare our thoughts as to what we want to have recorded of us, maybe a couple of you want to go in with your friends in there and record together. And I want you to think about this. Taylor mentioned to reach more, love more, and do more. And the key word that drives all of that is the word love. And I have this passage that I think that if you'll count on your fingers how many times this passage reminds you of Noah. It comes out of 1 Corinthians 13, and it centers around love. It describes love, what real love is all about. And see if you see Noah in this passage as I read it. If I give everything I own to the poor, and even go to the stake to be burned as a martyr, but I do not have love, I've gotten nowhere. So no matter what I say, what I believe, and what I do, I'm bankrupt without love. Love never gives up. Love cares more for others than self. Love does not want what it does not have. Love doesn't strut. Love doesn't have a swelled head. It doesn't force itself on others. Love isn't always me first, and it doesn't fly off the handle. It doesn't keep score of the sins of others and doesn't revel when others grovel. Love takes pleasure in the truth and puts up with anything. Love trusts God always looks for the best, never looks back, but keeps going to the end. Love never dies. Noah will never die because Noah lives in your heart. There's another passage in 1 Corinthians that talks about, where is your sting, death? Where is your victory? It is swallowed up in Christ Jesus. Noah knew Jesus. He had a good relationship with his Heavenly Father. So there's this piece of us that when we say goodbye, we're actually saying, see you later. Because we know where he's at. And one day we'll be with him, but just not yet. And so as you think of Noah and you